The night the stars went out, the world held its breath. Across the quiet plains of Montana, beneath a sky that should have been alive with light, Captain Mara Ellison stood on the rooftop of an abandoned observatory, staring into the darkness. The heavens were gone. No constellations, no faint shimmer of distant suns, only a vast, suffocating void stretching from horizon to horizon. It began subtly. One by one, stars dimmed, like candles snuffed in a cathedral of night. Then the silence came. Radios died. Satellites blinked out and every telescope on Earth went blind. Humanity looked up into the black and for the first time in centuries realized how fragile their place in the cosmos truly was. Mara had spent her life among the stars. Astronaut, physicist, dreamer. To her, space was home, infinite and full of promise. Now, staring into its emptiness, she felt as though someone had ripped out a piece of her soul. The message had come 2 days before the darkening. A pulse of sound, mathematical, deliberate, transmitted from the edge of the solar system. Scientists had called it the whisper. It wasn't human. It wasn't friendly. The message said one thing, Mara murmured, recalling the decoded line that spread through every government and news feed before the blackout. You took what was ours. Now we take the light. The alien fleet arrived unseen, silent shadows hidden in the void. No warning, no declaration of war. They simply erased the stars. The sun still burned but dimmer, as if drained by something vast and invisible. Panic spread across every nation. Power grids failed. Navigation collapsed. The world shrank to a single blue sphere floating in a sea of nothingness. Mara's comm device buzzed, a faint miracle of surviving technology. "Captain Ellison," a voice crackled, distorted but urgent. "Report to command. Project Dawn is activated," her heart clenched. Project Dawn. Humanity's last contingency, its whispered legend. A plan born in secret laboratories meant for a day no one wanted to believe would come. When Mara reached the underground command facility beneath the Rockies, she found the air thick with tension. Holographic screens flickered, showing static-filled images of cities plunged into twilight. Generals barked orders. Engineers prayed over dead consoles, and amidst it all stood Dr. Aaron Vance, the chief scientist of Dawn. "Mara," he said softly, his eyes tired but burning with conviction. "It's begun. They're harvesting starlight. Every fusion reaction, every atomic core, they're draining it into something vast." "We can't let them finish. How?" she asked, her voice trembling despite the steel she tried to summon. Aaron turned to the display. A single glowing point marked the outer edge of the solar system, the singularity gate as they called it. A machine the size of a moon feeding on the universe's fire. "We built something," he said. "A weapon powered not by destruction but by creation. The Helios Engine. It can reignite what they've stolen, but it needs to be delivered." Manually, Mara understood before he said it. "You want me to fly it?" Aaron's gaze met hers. "No one else can." For a long moment neither spoke. The weight of Earth's hope pressed down on her shoulders like a mountain. She thought of her father, who'd taught her the names of constellations as a child, of the laughter that once filled bright cities now shrouded in perpetual dusk. Finally she nodded. "Then let's bring back the stars." Outside, thunder rolled across the darkened plains, though there were no storms, only the low hum of awakening engines beneath the earth. Humanity was stirring. They would not die in the dark. As Mara descended into the launch bay, she whispered to herself, not a prayer but a promise. If they think they can take our light, they've never seen a human burn. And above her, in the boundless void, something unseen stirred in reply. The war for the stars had begun. The launch deck trembled beneath Mara Ellison's boots as Helios 1 roared to life. The ship was humanity's final candle, sleek, silver, and trembling with restrained power. Beyond the reinforced glass dome, the sky remained void black, a wound where the universe should have glittered. "Launch window in 40 seconds, the technician's voice called out. His tone was steady, but his hands shook. Every soul in the command bay knew what this mission meant. It was not just a flight, it was defiance. Mara's fingers brushed the console before her. Each switch, each glowing symbol felt sacred, She closed her eyes, hearing the faint pulse of the ship's heart, the Helios engine sleeping for now but capable of a miracle. "Earth Command," she said, her voice calm. "This is Captain Ellison, ready for departure." Static crackled. Then Dr. Aaron Vance's voice came through, quiet and solemn. "Godspeed, Mara. Bring the dawn back to us." The clamps released. With a deafening surge, Helios 1 rose through the black shroud, engines painting streaks of gold against the dying sky. The world below dwindled into a sphere of bruised blue and fading light. For a moment, Mara felt something she hadn't since childhood. Pure wonder. Even in darkness, Earth was beautiful, fragile, worth fighting for. But then the sensors came alive, and her heart froze. "Contact detected," the AI reported, voice neutral. "Object approaching from solar bearing 183. The display shimmered, and there it was. A shape moving through the void, gliding without light, its edges too sharp to belong to anything natural. It resembled a ship but alive, its hull rippling like liquid shadow. An alien vessel. Mara's pulse quickened. She switched to manual control, steering Helios into a lower orbit. "Let's see if you bleed, Shadow." Then it spoke. A voice. Not heard through the comms, but inside her mind. Cold, resonant, like the whisper of gravity itself. "Child of fire. You reached beyond your kind. You should have stayed beneath your sky." Mara gritted her teeth. "You stole the stars. You left us no sky to stay under." The darkness shimmered, and for a brief moment a symbol appeared on her screen. Spiraling lines converging into a single point. A warning, your sun will be next. Return and watch it fade. Resist and join the silence. Mara didn't respond. Her hands danced over the controls, sending a coded burst toward Earth Command. A data package containing everything she'd just encountered. Proof that humanity wasn't just fighting shadows anymore, but the alien ship moved again, faster than light should allow. It was upon her, claws of dark energy reaching toward Helios 1. "Evasive," she shouted, pulling hard on the thrusters. The ship screamed as pressure built. Alarms flared crimson. She could feel the hull groan, the thin line between brilliance and destruction stretching tighter with every second. Then, in the chaos, a memory rose. A simple one. Her father's voice on a mountain ridge long ago. "Remember, Mara, light isn't just what you see, it's what you carry." She smiled faintly through the sweat and fear. "Then let's show them ours." Mara rerouted all remaining power to the secondary reactor, then triggered a burst of radiant plasma. A miniature sunrise erupted from the ship's core. The alien craft recoiled, its dark skin blistering in the flood of light. The stars themselves seemed to blink for an instant, startled awake by the flare. When the brilliance faded, the void was empty. The shadow had fled, her ship drifted, damaged but alive. Mara sat in silence, breathing hard, her knuckles white against the controls. "Status," she whispered. The AI hesitated, then replied, "Shields at 20%. Reactor stable. Minor hull breaches sealed." She leaned back, eyes closed. "Good. Plot a course for the gate." The screen shimmered with starlight data, the faint ghost of navigation that remained. The gate lay far beyond Pluto, an impossible distance through what was once vibrant space, now dark and cold. Yet deep in that darkness, Mara could almost feel eyes watching. A presence vast and ancient stirred by her defiance. On Earth, Aaron Vance and the command teams received her transmission. The room fell silent as the playback ended, the alien's voice echoing through the speakers. Aaron looked up, eyes wide but fierce. "So they can talk," he whispered. "Then they can listen." And across the command center, humanity's oldest instinct flared, not fear, but fury. They would speak back. They would fight back. The farther Mara flew from Earth, the colder the void became. It wasn't just the absence of heat. It was a silence that gnawed at the mind, a vacuum that pressed against every thought, every memory. Helios 1 drifted through a universe stripped bare, a fragile human flame carrying the last hope of a planet. Every system in the ship hummed, alive with calculations. The Helios engine pulsed faintly, as though aware of the journey ahead. Mara ran her hands over the controls, tracing lines of starlight long vanished. Her mind wandered unwillingly to the cities she had left behind. The laughter of children in sunlit streets, the scent of rain on warm asphalt, the quiet solace of her own home before the dark came. "Captain," the AI said, voice neutral but insistent, "we are entering the threshold of the gate's influence. Gravitational anomalies will intensify. Proceed with caution." Mara exhaled, gripping the console. "I've come too far to hesitate now." Engage trajectory alignment. Outside the viewport, the shadows gathered. Not ships this time, but something older. Ripples in space itself. Light bent unnaturally. Stars, or what remained of them, flickered in fleeting bursts as if the universe was gasping for breath. Then came the first contact. Not a collision, not a beam, but a voice. Directly inside her mind. "Why do you resist, child of dust? Why cling to fragile fire when eternity awaits?" Mara stiffened. "I cling because fire can burn brighter than silence ever will. Your fire will consume you," she clenched her jaw. "Maybe. But I'll leave something burning behind that you'll never extinguish." The alien presence didn't reply immediately. Silence stretched over light years, pressing in like a tide. Then the void pulsed, and Mara saw it, a tendril of energy, a ribbon of dark matter stretching toward the gate, moving with awareness, reshaping the very space around it. The singularity gate loomed ahead, massive and impossible. It was no ordinary construct. It thrummed with the hunger of 1,000 stolen stars. Its surface shimmered with energy so dense it seemed alive, writhing as though sensing her approach. "Steady?" Mara whispered, more to herself than to the AI. Every instinct screamed that the gate was aware of her, calculating, judging. But hesitation would be fatal. She activated the Helios Engine. The chamber glowed like a sun igniting inside her ship. The vibrations of creation hummed through every fiber of Helios 1. Mara felt a surge of awe and fear. The power to restore a galaxy or unravel it entirely rested in her hands. "You dare touch what was never yours?" Her fingers tightened on the control stick. "We dare because we must. Earth will not kneel in darkness." The alien presence recoiled, an unnatural distortion that shook the very hull of her ship. Mara adjusted the engine's resonance, threading beams of recreated starlight into a lattice capable of withstanding the gate's gravitational fury. The void screamed. Time itself seemed to warp. Helios 1 shuddered under the strain. Mara's vision blurred. Memories of home, of family, of her own frailty surged in her mind, and then she remembered what her father had told her. "Light is more than what you see. It is what you give, what you protect, what you fight to keep alive." Her resolve hardened. "For Earth," she whispered. Not as a command, but as a promise. The Helios engine flared brighter than the sun, radiating energy across the void. The gate's surface twisted, resisting, but the human spark endured. The stolen starlight began to pulse back, shards of brilliance returning to their rightful paths. For a brief, miraculous moment, the void trembled, and then starlight erupted. Tiny, brilliant pinpricks of light returned to the darkness one after another. The stars were waking, but the gate did not yield easily. Shadows swirled around her, testing, probing, as if measuring the worth of the intruder who dared defy them. Mara gritted her teeth. Her body ached, the ship groaned, the void tested every limit, but she would not falter. Not now. Humanity's fire burned in her veins, in the glow of the Helios engine, in the return of light itself. And for the first time since the stars went out, Mara felt a surge of triumph. A defiance that resonated across the silent cosmos. Somewhere deep in the alien presence, something noticed. Something ancient and calculating, and it waited. The stars were returning, but the void had not forgiven her. Mara's ship cut through the darkness like a shard of defiance, engine screaming against the oppressive weight of nothingness. The Helios engine pulsed with every heartbeat of the ship, a living promise that humanity would not vanish quietly. Yet the singularity gate loomed larger with every passing moment. It was no longer a structure, it was a storm, an intelligence wrapped in black energy reaching into the universe itself. Shadows spiraled around it, tendrils of anti-light probing for weakness, ready to erase any who dared approach. Mara's hands were steady on the controls, though sweat ran cold along her spine. AI, plot a course through the shadow vortices. Minimum exposure time. Course calculated, the AI replied. Probability of survival, 38%. Mara chuckled grimly. 38% was better than none. Give me a fighting chance, she muttered. As she maneuvered, the void itself seemed to react. Space bent, twisted, and screamed around her. The tendrils of darkness lashed at the ship, testing shields, probing systems, trying to read her mind. Mara's eyes narrowed. They could sense fear, hesitation. She would give them none. The AI's voice was calm, almost clinical, but Mara heard the tremor in it anyway. Incoming anomaly. Spatial rift forming, likelihood of hull breach imminent. Then we punched through it. Her voice was steel. Mara gritted her teeth and fired the Helios Engine stabilizers, creating a radiant lattice that cut through the rippling shadows. The ship shuddered violently, alarm screaming, but held. Every second was a battle. Every maneuver a declaration. Humanity would not yield. Yet amid the chaos, Mara felt something new. A strange resonance inside her, as though the ship itself had begun to understand the human defiance fueling it. The Helios Engine's glow intensified, synchronizing with her heartbeat. She was not alone in this fight. Then she saw it, a shadow larger than any she had encountered. It moved with terrifying intelligence, circling her ship, pulsing with waves of darkness. The void's voice returned, louder, more commanding. Why do you persist, child of flame? You cannot comprehend eternity. Mara's hands clenched the console. Maybe not. But I do comprehend Earth, and I will not let it die in silence. She triggered the secondary pulse. A concentrated beam of starlight channeled through the Helios Engine's core. The shadow shrieked, fracturing into splinters of darkness that dissolved like smoke. For a fleeting moment, the void seemed stunned, as if it had not expected such defiance. But the gate was near. Even as Mara dodged the last tendrils, she saw the swirling center, a vortex of pure energy, spinning with the hunger of countless stolen stars. Her stomach twisted, her fingers shook. But the mission was clear. Reach the core, release the Helios Engine, restore what had been stolen. She closed her eyes briefly, imagining Earth, the cities she had loved, the people depending on her, the laughter of children, the hope of humanity, the brilliance of fire in every human heart. When she opened them, determination replaced fear. This is for every light you thought you could steal, she whispered. The final approach was a nightmare of gravity and darkness. The vortex twisted, attempting to crush the ship, bend her mind, distort reality itself. Mara's vision wavered as memories of home, fear, and doubt surged. Yet the Helios Engine pulsed steadily, a reminder that creation was stronger than destruction. She reached the heart of the vortex. All around her, shadows converged, but she did not flinch. The Helios Engine activated fully. A radiant explosion of pure starlight surged outward, pushing back the void, shredding the tendrils and illuminating the darkness like 1,000 suns awakening at once. For a heartbeat, silence returned. Then gradually the void recoiled. The gate shuddered as if wounded. Stars that had been stolen began to flicker back into existence. The universe exhaled. Mara sat back in her seat, trembling. She had made it through the heart of darkness, but the war was far from over. The gate was wounded, but not destroyed, and whatever intelligence lurked within it was far from defeated. Still, for the first time in endless nights, she glimpsed something impossible. Hope. Hope that humanity's light could burn through even the blackest shadow. Hope that no matter how silent the stars became, a single human spark could echo across the universe, and somewhere, deep in the void, something watched and learned. The singularity gate pulsed like a wounded heart, its black tendrils writhing as Mara's ship approached. The Helios Engine radiated a blinding brilliance, illuminating the void and throwing shadows into sharp relief. For the first time, Mara understood the scale of what she faced. This was not merely a machine. It was a consciousness. A predator that had been feeding on starlight for eons, and now it had noticed a human had dared to defy it. Her fingers hovered over the control panel. Every instinct screamed caution, but hesitation would be fatal. She inhaled, centering herself. Humanity's future rested on her resolve. AI, prepare the engine for full resonance, she commanded. The ship vibrated, alive with energy that seemed almost sentient. The engine pulsed, synchronizing with Mara's heartbeat. She felt the weight of the universe pressing down, the echoes of every lost star whispering through her mind. Then the voice returned, louder than ever, reverberating inside her very soul. Child of flame, you dare to challenge eternity. Your light is insignificant. Mara's eyes blazed. Insignificant, perhaps, but insignificant or not, it burns for those who cannot fight. The shadows lunged, attempting to engulf the ship. Mara twisted the controls, weaving through the tendrils of anti-light. Sparks of starlight scattered across the void as the Helios engine flared, tearing through the darkness. She realized then that the gate was not attacking physically. It was testing her, probing her mind, measuring her courage and resolve. Every fear, every doubt, every memory of loss was laid bare. Mara's mind wavered as visions of Earth flickered in front of her. Cities swallowed by darkness, families shattered, the laughter of children fading into silence, and yet, in the midst of fear, she found a strange strength. Humanity's fire was not merely light. It was defiance, resilience, and hope woven together into something that even the void could not consume. She gritted her teeth. For every child who has ever looked up at the sky, I will not fail. With that, Mara initiated the engine's final sequence. A wave of pure creation surged outward, streaming across the void like rivers of molten gold. The gate recoiled, its black tendrils shuddering under the force of something it could not comprehend. Foolish human, your existence is fleeting. Maybe, Mara replied, her voice steady despite the screaming hull. But your time ends here. The Helios engine detonated in a controlled burst, a supernova contained within the ship's frame. Light tore through the darkness, and for the first time, Mara glimpsed the gate's core, a swirling mass of anti-light, chaotic and hungry, yet vulnerable. She aimed the engine, threading beams of recreated starlight into the core itself. The shadows writhed violently, screaming in silence. Stars that had been stolen flickered back into being. One by one, the universe seemed to tremble under the sheer will of one human defying oblivion. Mara's ship shook as the gate fought back, but her resolve did not falter. Every ounce of human ingenuity, courage, and defiance poured into the engine, a beacon of creation against destruction. Then came a moment of pure clarity. The gate's intelligence recoiled, unable to comprehend the audacity of a species willing to risk everything for hope. Mara realized she did not need to destroy it entirely. She only needed to awaken it to the fact that humanity would not be conquered. The engine pulsed once more, sending a radiant wave outward that seared through the void. The gate shuddered and receded, its hunger abating as the stolen starlight cascaded back into the cosmos. The universe exhaled. Mara slumped back in her seat, exhaustion and exhilaration washing over her. Around her, stars winked back to life, tiny pinpricks of brilliance returning to their rightful places. The darkness had not vanished entirely, but humanity had carved a mark in the void, a testament that even in the deepest shadow, fire could endure. She allowed herself a small smile. Against the cold, infinite silence, humanity's light had struck back, and somewhere, deep in the void, the gate observed, not with malice now, but with a dawning respect. Mara whispered to herself, almost a prayer, "We are not insignificant. We are fire, and fire burns." The reckoning was over, for now, but the echo of humanity's defiance would ripple across the universe forever. The journey back to Earth was quieter than Mara expected. The void no longer thrashed with the fury of the Singularity Gate. The Helios engine hummed softly, a living heart that had carried the last spark of hope across the silent cosmos. Through the viewport, Mara watched stars return, some dim, some blazing brighter than she remembered. Each one was a victory, a reminder that even in the deepest darkness fire could endure. "AI," Mara said quietly. "Status report. All systems nominal. The gate's influence has diminished. Probability of continued stellar restoration, 97%. Mara allowed herself a tired smile. Humanity had survived the impossible. They had stared into the void and carved a mark of defiance. Yet the celebration would have to wait. Earth was changed. Cities still flickered in darkness. Communications were patchy and the scars of despair were everywhere. The cost of survival had been immense, and Mara knew the people she had left behind were both fragile and resilient. Humanity had survived the darkness, but it was not yet whole. When Helios 1 breached the atmosphere, the sight that greeted her was surreal. Faint sunlight bathed the planet in hues of gold and blue, but shadows lingered, remnants of fear and uncertainty. From space, Earth seemed small yet alive, pulsing faintly with the resilience of billions of hearts refusing to yield. Mara guided the ship toward the command facility in Montana. The launch bay doors opened as she approached, and below, humanity waited. Not as rulers of the stars, but as survivors of their own trials. Engineers, soldiers, scientists, and children whose parents had trusted in a hope bigger than themselves all stood, looking upward. When Mara stepped out of the ship, the wind on her face felt like a promise. Dr. Aaron Vance was there, older and grayer than when she had left, but his eyes shone with pride. "You did it," he said simply, and for once words were enough. Mara shook her head, a faint laugh escaping her. "We did it. Not me. We, every hand that built Helios, every mind that refused to bow to silence. We did it." The people around them began to cheer, voices carrying across the plains. It was not a victory born from conquest. It was a victory born of persistence, courage, and humanity's unbreakable spirit. But Mara's gaze lifted skyward. The stars were returning slowly, flickering into life like the heartbeat of the universe itself. Each one a reminder of what had been lost and what had been regained. Humanity's fire had struck the darkness and carved a light that could not be erased. Aaron rested a hand on her shoulder. "The gate is still out there. Perhaps it has learned something about us," Mara nodded. "And if it returns, we'll be ready. We have seen the void and survived. Nothing can take our light completely." Around her, children pointed to the sky, naming stars as their parents had long ago. Laughter echoed where silence had reigned. Mara felt a profound warmth. The world had endured, and its people were awakening to a truth older than any fear. Human spirit, once ignited, was unstoppable. In the following days, scientists, engineers, and explorers began to repair the damage, rebuild communication networks, and restore cities. Mara led the first team to investigate the distant remnants of the gate, not with the desire to destroy, but to understand. Humanity's curiosity, courage, and resilience had survived the darkness, and now it would guide them to the stars once more. One night, beneath a sky slowly regaining its brilliance, Mara stood alone on a ridge overlooking the plains. She felt the quiet hum of life all around her, and as the stars blinked awake, she whispered into the wind, "We are fire. We are defiance, and we will always burn." The universe had tested humanity, but it had underestimated them. Earth had struck back, and the echoes of that defiance would ripple across the stars forever. For Mara, for Earth, for all who had survived the silence, the fire had returned. The stars had returned. Slowly, timidly at first, and then with brilliance that defied memory. From every corner of the earth, people gazed upward, their eyes wide with wonder. The night sky was alive again, each pinprick of light a testament to defiance, resilience, and hope. Mara Ellison stood atop a hill overlooking the plains of Montana, the wind brushing her hair as if carrying whispers from the cosmos itself. The Helios Engine, now safely returned to its research facility, was quiet, but its pulse remained in her heart. Humanity's fire had reached across the void and carved a light the universe could not consume. Children ran beneath the stars, pointing and naming the constellations. Adults looked up with tears and quiet laughter, remembering the darkness that had once swallowed the sky. Mara's gaze lingered on the Milky Way, the river of stars flowing once more across the heavens, a song of triumph only the human spirit could compose. Dr. Aaron Vance joined her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "They'll remember this night forever," he said. The moment humanity refused to bow, the moment we reached back into the darkness and lit it aflame. Mara nodded, her voice soft but unwavering. They'll remember that we did not wait for heroes. We were the heroes. All of us. In the days that followed, humanity began to rebuild, not just the cities or the technology, but their own belief in themselves. Stories of bravery spread across the world. Pilots navigating the void, scientists unlocking the secrets of the gate, engineers who had pushed the boundaries of imagination. They were ordinary people who had achieved the extraordinary. Yet Mara knew the universe remained vast and unpredictable. The gate had been wounded, not destroyed. Somewhere in the deep black, an intelligence had observed humanity's fire and survived. But now, humanity was no longer afraid. They had faced silence, faced oblivion, and emerged not broken, but illuminated. One evening Mara stood on a cliff, the wind carrying the faint scent of rain and earth. Above her the sky shimmered with starlight restored. She closed her eyes and listened, and for the first time in years, she thought she could hear something extraordinary. Not a sound in the air, but the feeling of the cosmos responding. The stars sang. It was not a melody of the universe itself, but of something far more profound, a resonance of human courage, creativity, and defiance. The song of billions of hearts, beating in unison, echoing across the void. Mara opened her eyes, and a smile touched her lips. Humanity had not only survived, they had reminded the universe what it meant to be alive, what it meant to fight when hope seemed impossible, what it meant to carry fire in the face of darkness. She whispered a promise into the night. We will never forget. We will never surrender, and we will always burn no matter how deep the silence. From the distant reaches of the cosmos, faint pulses of light blinked back. Perhaps it was the gate, observing, learning. Perhaps it was the universe itself, acknowledging a species that refused to be erased. For Mara, for Earth, for every human who had dared to dream beyond the stars, the darkness had come, and humanity had struck back. The night was alive again. The stars sang, and Earth, small and fragile as it was, burned brighter than ever, a beacon of resilience, hope, and the indomitable human spirit. The universe had seen fire, and it had never seen anything like it.